Welcome back to Root Double. And I don't remember what we did. Oh, we have Ukita. Ukita is A-OK. The answer was that WX particles themselves were filled with the desire to connect. What? It's the right scene I'm loading. Oh yeah, I didn't know what the fuck was going on here.
でもね、WX 粒子のエネルギーは強すぎるの。あれは人の脳に入った時ダメージを与える。遺伝子にも作用を及ぼし変異を起こす。WX 粒子が持つ思いは苦痛を与えてでも人体を作り変えてでも人と人をつなげようとするんだよ。
WX 粒子を浴びると適正度が上がることがあるってのはそういう意味だったのか。
うん、それに対応できる人はとても少ないんだけど、でもこの作用にこそ一般人とコミュニケーターの溝を埋める可能性があるのかもしれないよ。
I still don't have a damn clue what you're talking
適
about.
合する人間はごくわずかにしてもあの機械によって後天的にコミュニケーターが作れるんだもの。
Ah yes, the perfect way to bridge the gap between communicators and not communicators by making everybody communicators.
WX 粒子増幅器は AD の逆の作用を持つんだよ。一般人をコミュニケーターにできる機械なの。いつかはあの機械によって世界中の人々がコミュニケーターになれる日が来るのかもしれない。
Everybody dies in 30 years.
そうすればコミュニケーターと普通の人たちの争いはなくなる。
And now it's just a dispute between all the communicators. Apparently some people in Labo thought that way.
でもそれっていいことなのかな。
Okay, good.
ね
I'm glad you
え、
don't.
私思うの。それはすごく不自然な社会なんじゃないかって。
Right.
私たちはこの力に頼らないで分かり合わなきゃダメなんじゃないかってさ。
They should try and understand each other without the use of forced non-consensual understanding.
ああ、僕もそう思うよ。BC っていうのは一つ使い道を誤れば社会に最悪をもたらしかねない恐ろしい。
If at all possible, it would be better for people to come to a mutual understanding without relying on that power. The same went for Natsuhiko and Watase. Erasing Watase's memory would return him to the just man he once was, one that would probably not conflict with Natsuhiko's intentions. It would not amount to true understanding with Watase at all. It will change with just the slightest distortion of memory. Going so far as to erase their memory would be the same as killing their mind. That was something Natsuhiko wanted to avoid. So I'll believe Watase will change his mind even if I don't erase his memories. That in time he'll abandon Q's mission and release Yuri. Even if that was just wishful thinking, Natsuhiko still wagered on that hope. As Natsuhiko pondered to himself, Yuri sadly muttered,
それにしてもさ、ヒコリン、私たちはどうしてか身に余る能力を身につけちゃったよね。普通の人が怖がるのもある意味当然かもしれないね。
ああ、こんな身の丈に合わない力手に入れない方が良かったのかもな。
in the fact that a power like that exists is unnatural.
でも僕らがこの能力を手に入れたことに何か意味があるとしたら
But, yeah, that's
正しいことに使いたいよ。
the right attitude. Despite his answer, Natsuhiko still did not fully understand. What was the meaning behind him getting that power? What exactly was the correct way to use BC? At the very least, freeing everyone from malice like this was probably the correct thing to do. As soon as Natsuhiko had that thought, sound rang out from outside the door. Natsuhiko and the others gasped and turned around.
誰だ？渡瀬か？
No answer. They could hear a sound like someone pounding on the wall outside.
立花さんとかがこのシェルターの存在に気づいたんでしょうか？
We did just speak to them.
いや、だとしてもパスワードを知っている者は僕たち以外にはいないはずだ。誰かが壁のボタンのことを思い出し、万が一修理できたとしても入ってはこれない。
The kids were relieved at Okita's statement, but immediately afterwards... Uh-oh. The screeching sound of metal cutting metal echoed from the other side of the door. Meanwhile, Watase was in the surveillance room, attempting to fix the broken PA. If he could get it working, they could call together everyone who had been infected by malice. In theory, at least. It's been about an hour since they announced that the place was switching to backup power. Means the speakers are still online. Yet the PA can't handle facility-wide broadcasts anymore. Means that there's a good chance one of the PA system circuits located near the surveillance room has been severed. Searched the area under that assumption, discovering a burned-off cable in the wall of the room that had been hit by the backdraft earlier. Thought crossed Watase's mind as he did repairs on it. Getting closer and closer to escape. What are Natsuhiko's thoughts on all this? Natsuhiko had clearly stated his opposition to the deal Watase had made with Yuri, but agreed to cooperate for the time being. What move would he take once they got out of there? He could probably erase my memories with just a thought. So when this is all over, will he erase my memories again? A suspicion crept its way into Watase's heart. Watase had looked into communicators the best he could. Their true power was far greater than anything Watase had imagined. I know he's going to try not to, but to be fair to Watase, you just got your memories back. It is a strong gesture of trust that he gave your memories back, but he did take your memories from you to begin with. And from the perspective of someone who never knew this power existed, he could very easily do it again at the drop of a hat. It's understandable to be concerned. There are people out there who could dive into people's minds and manipulate their memories as they saw fit. There was nothing that frightened Watase more than that. Such people frightened him so much he didn't find it that much of a stretch to label them monsters. Even though they're not monsters, it's only natural for them to do that kind of stuff. I'd probably do the same thing as Natsuhiko if I were in his shoes. Of course, Watase could have just hidden his intention to take Yuri to Q once everything was over. He would have kept his true thoughts secret, worked himself to the bone to save everyone, gain Natsuhiko and Yuri's trust. And once they escaped, he would have knocked Natsuhiko unconscious and taken Yuri away by force. But Watase never wanted to play foul like that. It just wasn't in him. Again, the true Watase. And what do I want? Am I saying that I wanted to make things a bit more fair for Natsuhiko? Why am I trying to act like a goody two-shoes now, of all times? I'm supposed to be nothing more than a terrorist. Before he could finish that thought, he finished fixing the cable. Watase pushed his thoughts aside and dashed back into the surveillance room. Well, I got nothing to lose by trying. He flipped the on switch for the PA's mic as he thought that. He then tried talking into it. It was met with the sound of his voice coming out of the speaker in the ceiling above him at the same time. Once he celebrated, then prepared to try calling for Sally first. But at that moment, he noticed someone being displayed in one of the room's several monitors. Hi, Jun. The image was coming from the camera located in B1 of Area 5's outer ring. Said camera was busted, so the footage was of poor quality, but he could still barely make out Jun. She was holding her engine cutter and pushing it against the wall. Destroying the shelter's opening mechanism had backfired on them. Anyone would get suspicious when something that hadn't been damaged before was suddenly destroyed the next time they saw it. Moribe hates the old man. He's in danger. Understandably, but he's no longer a danger. He is in danger, though. Watase rushed out of the surveillance room with that thought. The door should still hold for a while, even against that engine cutter. Just have to get to the shelter before she breaks through it. Watase continued his mad dash for Area 5. They soon came to a halt. Oh. You'd see a shadow standing in his way, though it was too dim to tell who it was. The shadow stared at him and spoke.
隊長さん、どこに行くの?
Hello. Anna then pointed a gun at Watase. Uh-oh. Overlapping crises indeed.
なんだ?
Oh shit. The metal cutting sound kept echoing beyond the iron door. Eventually it abruptly stopped. What was that? Natsuhiko looked at the iron door with a bad feeling in his gut. Supposedly sturdy enough to withstand fires and explosions. And yet there was no lock.
Yuri, おじさん、この扉開かないようにはできないんですか?
Like, can't we brace the door or something?
できないよ。
避難用のシェルターに内側から閉める鍵があるものか?
じゃあ扉を押さえて。
Before Natsuhiko could finish, the door opened with a heavy thud. Oh.
やっぱ隠し部屋か、これ。
And the one who stood in the doorway was none other than Jun. She looked around the shelter and spoke up as soon as she spotted Ukita.
浮田さん、姿が見えないと思ったらこんなところにって。夏彦くんにゆりちゃん、それにましろちゃんまで。なんであんたたちがここに？
いや、その。
When Jun focused her eyes on them, Natsuhiko found himself at a loss for words. Jun's eyes picked up on Natsuhiko and Mashiro's wounds, and then she gritted her teeth. Uh-oh.
あんた、私だけならまだしも子供たちにも手を出したのかい?
Kita's body froze up with a twitch. Natsuhiko panicked and put himself between them.
待ってください、ジュンさん。
なんで止めるの？このおっさん、私を襲ったんだよ。それにあんたたちだって全身傷だらけじゃないか。このおっさんに撃たれたんだろ?
No, that was Watase. Ah!
違うんです。おじさんは悪くないんです。だ
からその、やめてください。
Jun stared at Natsuhiko and Yori in confusion.
どうして止めるの？おかしいよ、二人とも。犯人をかばうなんて。
だから違うんです。おじさんはなんていうか操られていただけなんですよ。
そんなバカな言い訳。
Jun suddenly stopped speaking. A look of realization then crossed her face.
ああ、そういうことだったんだ。そのおっさんとあんたたちはグルだったんだね。
なんでそんなことに？
だってそうでしょ。途中から姿を消したゆりちゃんと探しても見つからなかった夏彦くんたち。
Oh no.
あんたらは浮田さんと組んでみんなを殺そうとしていたんだ。AD の数を考えれば閉じ込められた9人全員は生き残れない。だからあんたたちは誰か3人を殺して生き残ろうとしたんだ。そう考えれば全部辻褄が合うよね。
There was nothing strange about Jun's tone of voice. She sounded completely rational. The actual content of her words was completely devoid of reason. I never expected the Jun I knew would become like this. He shuddered in renewed fear of Subject N's power. Jun's maddened eyes glared at the kids as she spoke.
堂島先輩たちを殺したの。AD が消えたのもあんたたちのせいでしょ。どうしてそんなことをしたの？どうして？あの人たちは人の命を救うために生きた本物のレスキュー隊員だったのに。
About that.
どうして先輩たちを殺したんだよ！
Jun readied the engine cutter. Ukita pointed the gun at her and threatened to shoot.
やめろ。 それ以上近づくな。
Jun froze and let out a snort of disbelief.
かっこいいこと言うね。私から奪った弾がその中に入ってるのかな。
いや、別の銃だ。弾倉も入ったちゃんとした銃さ。この子たちに手を出すなら撃つ。
なるほど。まあ、いろいろ言いたいことはあるけど、やれるもんならやってみなよ。
Oof.
本当に撃つぞ。
あんたには撃てないよ。あんたの行動には芯がないもん。
何？
どうせ殺すつもりなら、私から弾を奪うときついでに殺しちゃえばよかったんだ。
Damn. I mean, fair, but damn.
何を言っているんだ。そんなことできるか。
自分を心から信じてはいないから私を生かしておいたんでしょ。結局善も悪も中途半端で弱い人間なんだよ。あんたは。
黙れ。
How did Tsukita scream those words? Gunshot rang out. Oh shit!
銃を下ろしてくれ。
Watase called out to her in a subdued voice. Oh shit! He had to get back to the shelter as soon as possible. Couldn't have Ena holding him up. She kept her gun trained on him and answered.
下ろせるわけないじゃない。浮田さんから聞いてしまったんだもの。否定しないのね。
否定できないさ。事実だからな。俺は1年も前からラボを襲う計画を進めていたんだ。消えていた記憶が戻ってそのことも思い出したよ。
レスキュー隊員だってことは本当なの？
それも本当だ。笑えるか？人命を救う仕事をしながらテロの計画も進めていたなんて。
笑えないわよ。ちっとも笑えないわ。
A lonely smile then formed on Ena's face.
浮田さんの話が嘘だったらいいって思ってたわ。あなたがテロリストのはずがない。人を救うために命を懸ける本物のレスキュー隊員のはずだって。あなたは誰かを助けるためなら汚染区域やガスの中にも飛び込む私のよく知る隊長さんなんだって。どうしてテロなんか起こしたの
Watase's heart ached at that question. He didn't have long to talk. However, he felt that he had to tell her the truth in order to get her to lower her gun.
俺はな、先生。16年前の火災で家族を失ったんだ。
え？
その時はただ悲しかった。だがずっと後になってから真相を聞いた。知ってるか、先生。あの火災はな、ある一人のコミュニケーターによって起こされたものなんだよ。だがその事件は6名士とラボの連中に隠蔽されたんだ。
There are very few who knew that truth. The only ones who did were Q, the affected individuals, and the Rookman City government. Ena listened to him all the way through, then quietly answered.
知ってるわ。
そうか。
She really is with the Rookman City Security Department. Watase continued as he thought that.
俺は我慢ならなかったんだ。裁かれるべき人間が裁かれなかったってことが。事件を起こした黒幕連中が責任を取らずぬくぬく暮らしてるってことが。だから真実を明るみに出すためにラボを強襲して被験体を拉致しようとした。動機はそれが全てさ。
Ena bitterly gritted her teeth. Watase couldn't tell what that look on her face meant. He then barely managed to squeeze her next words out.
ギフトのところに倒れていた少女はあの子も被験体でしょ。あの子を撃ったのは隊長。
あれは俺の仲間堂島か檜山が撃ったんだ。
死んだ人のせいにするの？
そうじゃないが、俺があいつらの代わりに撃っていた可能性はあるがな。
Long story, Teach.
俺も堂島も檜山もまともじゃなくなってたのさ。16年前の火災の真相について知ってるならこのことも聞いているだろう。コミュニケーター A の悪意感染、あれと同じことが今この施設の中で起こっているんだよ。
そんな。じゃあ浮田さんや森部さんも悪意に感染してたっていうの？
It seemed Ena had figured out everything from that one sentence, as expected of someone working for the government in the shadows. Watase nodded and continued.
俺も悪意に感染した。心の中に押し込めていたコミュニケーターに対する憎悪を極限まで増幅されたんだ。そしてそれに従い夏彦と鳥羽真白を撃った。
そんな。
ごめんな先生、俺はもうレスキュー隊員なんかじゃない。ただのテロリストなんだよ。
でも悪意に感染している風には見えないわ。
ああ、今は夏彦と有利のおかげで悪意から解放されたんだ。それで俺は。
Eh? His eyes widened.
隊長さん、今なんて言ったの？
いやだから二人のセンシズシンパシーのおかげで記憶を修復されて悪意からは解放されたんだよ。
何それ、聞いてないわよ。センシズシンパシーで記憶を修復、悪意から解放したですって。
Welcome to Labo.
天川君とユーリさんにそんなことができるっていうの？
何？
Watase was astonished. What's going on? Shouldn't members of the security department know all about Natsuhiko and Yuri? Are Labo and the security department not on the same page? No, that can't be. They never screw up like that. Wait, then in that case, this who the world is Teach. Watase was about to ask her for more details, but at that moment he heard a sound behind him. Uh-oh. Eh? Turned around in surprise and saw Sally running at him from the other end of the hallway. Oh shit. Oh shit. By the time he noticed her, it was too late. Sally's jump kick nailed Watase right in the chin. Thoughts raced through Watase's head as he fell to the floor. Why did this girl always have to show up at the worst possible time? Though he felt close to fainting, he would still make out Sally when Ena's voices.
エナ、その銃は何？この男を撃とうとしていたの？だったら早く撃つべき。
Oh.
何を言うの、三宮さん。
You could hear their voices growing louder. This concussion rendered him unable to put any strength in his hand and 4 feet, meaning he couldn't get up.
この男は夏彦を撃った。原子炉を爆破し、町を滅ぼそうとした。許しが。
隊長さんをどうするつもり？
殺す。
Oh shit.
殺すって。
Goddamn, Sally.
私だって別に殺したくはないけど、みんなを守るためには殺さなければまずい。
We haven't seen the obvious signs yet, but I'm getting the feeling that she is infected with malice.
やめなさい、三宮さん。
どうして止めるの？
どうしてって。
エナの行動はおかしい。私が忠告したのに、まだこの男と一緒にいる。私たちに心を開いていない。それに銃を持っている。まさかエナもテロリストだとしたら容赦はしない。
Watase could hear Sally walking towards Ena. Oh, you're approaching me. Then his body finally moved. He stretched out his hands and swung them at Sally's leg. Sally gasped at the same time Watase shouted.
先生、逃げろ！そして第5エリアの地下1階内周棟に行け！あそこには夏彦と有利と真白と浮田のおっさんがいる。だが 悪意に感染した森部に襲われている可能性が高い。頼む、俺の代わりに助けてやってくれ。
A look of hesitation rose to Ena's face for a moment when she heard Watase's pleas.
いいの？私が何者なのかわからないのに。
We'll deal with that later.
私だって悪意に感染してるかもしれないのに。
Those words triggered Watase's memory. And he remembered how Ena had stood up for him back when Jun and Ukita had been pressing him hard in the surveillance room.
先生はあの時俺を信じてくれた。だから俺も先生を信じる。
Those words softened Ena's face.
本当にお人よしなんだから。
She really readily understood everything with the truth of the great Rookman City arson, all that jazz. She then started running down the hallway. But she doesn't know about Senses Sympathy and repairing memories, which means she's not in the loop on Leibo's experiments. Sally shook off Watase's grip at the same time. Oh yeah! She kicked Watase in the head. Watase mustered all of his willpower to keep his fading consciousness tethered. Oh shit. Back at the shelter, Ukita and Jun were staring each other down.
どうしたの、浮田さん。
Jun stepped up with that provocative line. Ukita had shot several rounds, but they had all lodged into the ground by Jun's feet.
どうやら当てることができないみたいだね。せいぜいこうやって威嚇するだけ。これじゃ私は止められないよ。
いいから止まれ。今度こそ撃つぞ。
Ukita trained his aim on Jun, but her feet did not stop. Natsuhiko reached the end of his rope and called out to her.
ジュンさんやめてください。
え？
ジュンさん、正義のヒーローになりたいって言ってたじゃないですか。人を殺してヒーローなんかになれるんですか？
大丈夫。あんたらを殺しはしないよ。ちょっと手か足を切って行動できなくさせるだけさ。
Holy shit.
そんなことしたらジュンさんはもうレスキュー隊員じゃなくなっちゃいますよ。
You'll be a violent criminal.
夏彦くん、私はね、浮田さんに後頭部を殴られて銃弾を奪われたんだよ。浮田さんは人を撃つために銃弾を奪ったんだよ。この人はね、人を殺そうとしたんだよ。
事情があるんです。おじさんはもうそんなこと考えてません。
そんなことどうして言える？一度人を殺そうとした人間がどうして返しに来たと言えるのさ。いいかい、人が殺されてからじゃ遅いんだ。死んだ人は絶対に戻ってこないんだ。私だってこんなことしたくないよ。でも万が一の犠牲者が出てから後悔するくらいなら、私はシリウスをやめてでもこいつに手を下せ。
Jun raised the engine cutter up high and sprang at Ukita. And when Yuri's cry rang out. Oh shit! Someone plunged into the room through the door.
動くな。
Shouting that command was Ena. Goddamn! With the gun in her hand, trained on Jun.
先生。
あんたがどうしてここに？
隊長さんに聞いたのよ。おかしくなった女がここで人を襲おうとしてるって。
じゃあ何？しばらく姿を見ないと思っていたら、あんたもテロリストの仲間。
黙りなさい。
Yeah. Serious, that is serious.
これ以上の警告はしないわ。
Surrounding air froze the moment that warning left Ena's lips. Killing intent oozed out of her entire body, condensed at her fingertip, and set itself upon the trigger.
撃てるの？単なる高校教師のあんた。
You wanna bet?
撃てるわよ。教師じゃないからね。
Oh?
教師じゃない。
Oh?
いい加減気づかれてると思ったんだけど。私は刑事よ。
Hey! That would do it.
刑事
All eyes widened at Ena's confession.
正確には刑事みたいなものね。一般には知られてない団体に所属してるから。
Oh? Alright.
でも警察に準ずる活動をし、体重も許されてる。不可避の際には犯人射殺の権利も。
何それ、そんなヨタ話信じると思ってんの？
ヨタ話かどうか試してみる？
Jun sank into silence as if in defeat. Ena spoke more and more relentlessly.
そのエンジンカッターをゆっくり床に置きなさい。少しでも怪しい動きがあったら即座に射殺するわ。
But Jun didn't relinquish the engine cutter. Ena whispered to Natsuhiko from the side.
天川君、聞いて。私が森部さんを抑えているから、今のうちに彼女の悪意を消して。
Natsuhiko's eyes widened. Oh man. Oh man. Alright, let's do it. How does Professor Tsubakiyama know about memory repair? Natsuhiko questioned that point, and it continued.
私は大丈夫。悪意に感染してはいないわ。
Unlike Jun, who was clearly infected with malice, Ena appeared to be normal. She did have a gun, and her true identity was still ambiguous. Can she be trusted? Natsuhiko was urged to a decision as two armed women glared at each other in front of him. After a moment's hesitation, he made his brave decision. Even if Ena's heart wasn't open, she was more trustworthy than Jun right now. Yuri probably came to the same conclusion. Two kids held hands and focused on Jun. Problem is what criteria to use for memory access. Jun seemed unrelated to the terrorist plot. Just to be sure, they should probably take a look through her memory of up until today. She should also look for floral-scented memories and repair any they would find. Okay. Just how much in detail should I look? What are the conditions for this here? I get the feeling it'd be best if I didn't trespass too far in, but Natsuhiko pondered. Did he want a detailed understanding of Jun's deepest depths or not? Detailed understanding would probably be conducive to more accurate memory repair, but still. This is the time to be taking detours. We're gonna do all the details first time. Want a detailed understanding of Jun. Why would the Jun I know change this much? I suspect I'll find the answer within her memory. Natsuhiko decided to have a detailed look through Jun's memories.
ジュンさん、動かないでください。
は？何をするつもり？
すぐ終わりますから。
As Jun's body stiffened, Natsuhiko and Yuri stepped up to her and activated Senses Sympathy. This is going to produce some interesting bad endings. It was a memory of when Jun was 11 years old.
パパなんて大嫌い！
Oh. Yet another typical day, Jun yelled those words at her father and ran out of the house. I can't get no. She headed to the nearby park, as always. But her father had never once chased her that far. And this day was no exception. Why couldn't Daddy be a hero of justice instead? She pondered that question as she sat on one of the benches. Jun had always loved anything hero-related she'd seen on TV for as long as she could remember. She admired heroes who risked their lives to save others and Earth. But there was a world of difference between those kinds of heroes and Jun's father. He was a prominent city council member who was even well known in Rookman City, but in a bad way. Heroes of justice? They're ridiculous. There is no absolute justice or evil in this world. People are not pure good or pure evil either. There are only those who lie in the continuous spectrum of gray between the two. Jun grew sad when she remembered the words her father had said earlier. He was a strict man who never took his daughter into consideration. Jun's mother had fertility issues, so she had faced a lot of hardship until she became pregnant with Jun. When Jun was finally born, her father lost interest in both his wife and his child on that simple account that a daughter could never be a successor. He tried real hard to act like a boy, but I guess it was all for nothing. Jun had come to think of herself as worthless due to all those long years spent unloved by her father. She felt like she was about to burst into tears from all the loneliness, but then someone called out to her.
ジュンちゃん、泣いてるの？あ、渚。
Jun looked up to find that the voice belonged to none other than Nagisa, a girl who lived nearby. Is this Cosme's little sister? Jun gave her a cheery smile.
泣いてないよ。全然平気。そう、よかった。それよりどうしたの、渚？一人で公園なんか来て大丈夫なの？ううん、お姉ちゃんと一緒に来てたんだけど、お姉ちゃん寝ちゃったの。
Nagisa pointed to a young woman sleeping on the lawn. Nagisa's oldest sister, Kasumi.
ありゃりゃ。じゃあ、私と遊ぼうか。
Nagisa's face brightened at Jun's suggestion. But Jun and Nagisa were 5 years apart in age. They got along great. They'd been best friends ever since they met at a neighborhood association meeting. Jun was a self-assertive tomboy, yet she acted like a kind older sister to Nagisa. Nagisa's body was a bit weak, so she apparently couldn't play all that much with other kids her age. That's why Jun made it her mission to play with her as much as possible whenever they crossed paths. And hanging out with Nagisa was also a way of healing Jun's heart. Why did Daddy say I shouldn't be playing with such a good girl? Jun's recent fight with her father had been caused by him saying, I don't want you playing with that kid in the park anymore. That kid in the park referred to Nagisa. It's his daddy we're talking about here, so he's probably just being prejudiced or whatever it's called. Jun played with Nagisa as she thought that. It wasn't long before she noticed Kasumi frantically running over to them.
ジュンちゃん、ごめんなさいね。渚を見ててくれたのね。
Oh, casual Kasumi. I like it.
あ、風見ちゃん、いいよいいよ。私も楽しいから。お姉ちゃんぐっすりだったから起こしちゃいけないと思って。
ついうとうとしちゃったわ。あんまりポカポカしてるものだから。
Jun and Nagisa laughed at Kasumi's embarrassed reaction.
いつの間にかお昼過ぎちゃったわね。家に帰ってご飯にしましょうか。
お腹すいた。
ジュンちゃんもお礼にどうかしら。スパゲティ茹でるけど。いいの？やったー。風見ちゃんのスパゲティ美味しいもんね。
Oh yeah, spaghetti.
あらお上手。それじゃあ行きましょうか。
Kasumi took Jun and Nagisa hand in hand and headed off towards the Tachibana residence. Tachibana's sisters had no parents. They had both died from illness at a young age, so Kasumi worked at a flower shop to support Nagisa. Kasumi was a very kind and beautiful sister who had always smelled of flowers. As a result, Nagisa never grew up feeling worthless like Jun did. Jun loved the two sisters dearly.
ねえ二人とも、スパゲティの味は何がいいかしら？
渚は何がいいかな？この間食べたあの卵のやつがいい。
Ooh, egg
カ
guy?
ルボナーラね。
Ah,
わかったわ。特別美味しいの作ってあげる。
Kasumi smiled at Nagisa. Jun felt a warm feeling spread through her chest at that sight. Sisters always looked so happy even though they didn't have parents. Every part of their home was filled with the warmth and smiles a family should have. Man, they looked so happy. Jun gripped Kasumi's hand tightly as she thought this. Oh. One clear day about a week later, Jun and Nagisa went out to Center Street to do some shopping. They wanted to give Kasumi a present as thanks for always working hard. The two girls talked as they looked at the shops that lined the street.
何を買おうかな。お姉ちゃんの喜ぶものってなんだろうね。そう そういえば風見ちゃんって綺麗なのにあんまりおしゃれとかしないよね。アクセサリーとかあげたらきっと似合うよ。いいね。じゃあ何がいいかな。イヤリングかな、それとも指輪？そうだ、あれはパカって開くネックレス。
ああ。
パカって開く。ほら、写真とか中に入れて首から下げるあれだよ。
That's where that comes from.
ロケットのこと？そう、それ。
Nagisa was a very smart girl for her age. She hadn't even started elementary school yet. Yet she was more knowledgeable than Jun. Jun hated studying, so it didn't bother her at all that Nagisa was so much smarter.
ロケットなら渚の写真を入れることができるでしょ。
Oh,
そうすればお姉ちゃん渚といつでも一緒だよ。
that is cute.
そっか、すごくいいアイディア。よーし、じゃあロケットを探そう。
Hell yeah, let's go. Jun and Nagisa checked around the accessory shops. They finally found a locket in the third one they went to. It cost 3,500 yen. Jun said she'd cover the whole cost, but
純ちゃん、やっぱり私半分出すよ。
go and have these.
そう？お小遣い貯めてるし、純ちゃんに悪いもん。その方がいいね。二人のプレゼントって感じになるしさ。じゃあ1750円ずつ出してこのロケット買っちゃおう。
And so the two of them obtained Kazumi's present. They chatted on their way back to the Tachibana residence.
お姉ちゃん喜んでくれるかな。きっと感動して泣いちゃうんじゃないかな。風見ちゃん、渚のこと大好きだからさ。そうかな。
Nagisa said that with embarrassment. It looked as if she was aware of how much her sister loved her. Jun suddenly got jealous when she saw that.
渚はいいね。優しいお姉ちゃんがいて。私んち家族が仲悪くてさ。パパはあんまり家に帰ってこないし、ママもよくどこかに遊びに行って、私のご飯とか家政婦さん任せだし。
I never pegged Jun as the politician's daughter.
なんか時々すっごく寂しくなるんだよ。
But it does make a lot of sense.
大きな家なんていらないから、ただ家族が仲良ければいいのに。渚のうちみたいにさ。なんてね。ごめん、何言ってんだろ私。こんなこと言われても困るだけだよね。
Just when Jun started to get embarrassed about complaining to a 6-year-old, Nagisa spoke up with determination in her voice.
だったら純ちゃんもうちに住めばいいよ。
Oh,
私純ちゃんのこと好きだし、お姉ちゃんもきっと純ちゃんのこと好きだし、純ちゃんがうちに住めば3人一緒で仲良し家族だよ。寂しくないよ。渚。
Jun stared at Nagisa, who looked absolutely pleased with herself. Ah, stupid me, I made a little girl worry about me. She's trying to be so nice to me, even though she's got no mom or dad. Must be just as lonely, but she's still... It was a proposal that made her feel so pathetic, yet it also sounded so charming.
いいね。じゃあ渚は私の妹になるんだね。それでね、私はお姉ちゃんが2人になるの。そして風見ちゃんが結婚すれば、その人がねパパになるの。そしたらもうちゃんとした家族だよね。
Oh, that's not exactly how it worked, but it was a very joyful dream nonetheless. Kazumi would definitely make a good mom. Cooking was also top class. Her husband would no doubt be a wonderful man. Once she got married, Kasumi would be free from her day-to-day job. That Nagisa could act more like a child of her age. Jun imagined that ideal family in her head. Outsider like me shouldn't even be there to begin with, but though she knew that, she thought it wouldn't be so bad to immerse herself in that dream.
じゃあ風見ちゃんが旦那様をゲットするためにもこのプレゼントは役に立つかもね。よーし、早く家に帰って風見ちゃんに渡そう。
And it worked for a bit until her hubby decided to plan a terrorist attack. Two friends then broke off into a run. Kasumi had told Nagisa that she got off work early that day, so she'd be home around 3 p.m. Jun and Nagisa waited in the Tachibana residence for Kasumi to get home. Nagisa kept on glancing at the clock, muttering, "Is it time yet?" to herself. When the bell chimed 3 p.m. Hey! Holy shit! It was drowned out by a thunderous roar. A shock ran through the building. Jun heard what sounded like something collapsing. A second later, she was struck by an impact, then passed out. Jun woke up to find she was lying face down under something heavy. Her back was being crushed under the weight of what appeared to be rough debris. Jun was at a complete loss. She had absolutely no idea what had happened. All she knew was that her body was pinned down by something, and she could see little apart from the floor. Nagisa was supposed to be right next to her, but she was nowhere to be found. Her calls were answered by another voice somewhere in the room. Jun tried to hurry over towards Nagisa. She couldn't make the debris budge at all, no matter how hard she struggled. Jun desperately tried to squirm her way out from under the debris. The debris weighing on her back creaked every time she moved, sounding as though it would collapse at any second. Oof. That can't be pleasant. That sounded way too close. If this thing collapses, I'll be... Just then she heard ambulance sirens in the distance getting closer and closer. Jun and Nagisa held still and waited in the dark room for help to arrive. But they were taking a long time to get there. Jun talked as much as she could to keep Nagisa calm.
Nagisa! 姉ちゃんがお仕事に行ってる時とかどうしてもだから純ちゃんもお姉ちゃんになってくれたら寂しくなくなるかなって思って。
Her feral voice was abruptly cut off.
ナギさどうしたの？煙がどこかで火が出てるみたい。
Oh no. Upon hearing that, Jun suddenly noticed. After realizing that their surroundings had become enshrouded by the burning stench of smoke. No, that wasn't all. The debris weighing on her back was starting to get hotter and hotter. Ah. That's how she got her burn scar. Burns? The debris crushing Jun was on fire. That was the sort of the heat and the stench. Fear instantly ran through her. This is bad, my back's gonna get burned. Jun instinctively twisted her body. Right at that moment, the debris collapsed and something searing hot landed on her back. Oh, jeez. Fuck. Ah, it hurts. It seemed a scorching hot reinforcing bar or something like that was pressing against her back. Instantly burned through Jun's clothes and charred her skin. Oh, jeez. Jun gritted her teeth and twisted her body, managing to get the rebar off her back somehow. However, the heat and torturous pain didn't go away. Thoughts ran through Jun's mind as she panted heavily. Now that the small room was on fire, help needed to get here, and fast. If it didn't, then she and Nagisa were both dead. Jun hoarsely screamed those words. Nagisa also weakly rose her voice. Ah, was Nagisa. Jun then broke out into a violent coughing fit. But she'd avoided it so far because she'd been pinned to the floor. The fumes finally started flooding into Jun's mouth. Those final words, Jun started to pass out. However, she heard the sound of the front door opening up. Jun was taken aback. The sound was then replaced by human voices. It was finally here. She was barely even conscious. Jun turned toward that voice. Just then, the debris blocking her vision was removed, revealing someone's shadow. Jun couldn't answer. The man gave her a reassuring smile. Ah! That is a reassuring smile. Why does it also feel really uncomfortable? There's something about that smile of Watase's feel really... I don't know why that puts me off. Jun managed to give him a faint smile of her own. The man had shown up to save Jun and Nagisa just in the nick of time, like he was some sort of hero straight out of a movie or something. She heard another man's voice coming from the center corner of the room. The man shouted that, then moved the debris on Jun's back aside. A second later, he pulled Jun out. She'd been saved. The man carried Jun down the creaking hallway. She could see another man a short distance away behind them, carrying Nagisa.
渚？もう一人の子か？妹だったのか？
Man behind them and then answered Jun's question.
大丈夫だよお嬢ちゃん。渚ちゃんは無事だ。今は気を失ってるが命には別状はないはずさ。
だってさ、安心していい。
Then how did she die? Could have sworn she died. The moment she suddenly felt her throat hurting from all the smoke she'd been inhaling just minutes ago.
大丈夫か？すぐに安全な場所に連れて行ってやるからな。
Or did something more happen with that?
頭も痛いし、頭も目も痛いし、私死ぬの？
Now that she confirmed Nagisa was safe, she suddenly felt so weak. The man answered her in an encouraging voice.
いや、安心しろ。絶対に死んだりなんかしない。俺たちはレスキュー隊だ。君らの命を救いに来たんだ。俺たちが来た以上、死なせなんかしない。
Rescue workers. Now that she thought about it, she had heard of them before. She had learned somewhere that there were firefighters in the city who specialized in saving people's lives. See, that's how they were able to save us like it was nothing. Rescue workers are real amazing. They had that kind of strength too, and could have helped Nagisa sooner. With that thought, Jun once again lost consciousness. Being saved by those rescue workers, Jun was taken to the hospital where she was treated for her burns. A burn on your back will likely leave a scar. It had been depressing to hear from that from her doctor, but there were more important matters on Jun's mind. Nagisa's okay. That rescue worker said she was okay, but the wounds on her head were apparently more serious than what had been thought. Nagisa had been in the ICU for an entire day after the accident, and she was still there. It appeared that Kazumi, who had come over as fast as she could, was praying for Nagisa's safety in front of the ICU the whole time. Jun also prayed from her hospital bed. God, please don't take Nagisa away. That night, as Jun struggled to fall asleep, Kazumi suddenly came in.
あ、風見ちゃん。純ちゃん。
Kazumi staggered into the sick room. Something was off about her.
ねえ、渚は？渚、大丈夫だったんでしょ？
Kazumi's face warped with grief at that question.
純ちゃん、渚はね、渚は。
Kazumi broke down, sobbing. With a trembling voice, she then told Jun about her sister's death. I think it's time for me to sign off on that point. What an hour this has been. Wow.